Hello, Facebook friends. It's good to see all of you. Hope you had a great New Year's. Today we got a special presentation where we're going to talk about how to retire without saving money. Now, I'm just wondering how many of you are skeptical about that. You know, our whole life we've been taught and told, save as much as you can. And I'm not here to discourage saving. Saving is important. Financial management is important. But, you know, frankly, the sad fact is that saving money is really difficult. And in Southern California, it's especially difficult because of the high cost of living. In Southern California, I don't have to tell you, you know, rents have gone through the roof, real estate prices. The affordability index in Orange County is the lowest it's been since before the financial meltdown. We're at about 20% affordability rate, meaning 20% of the people can afford a medium-priced home in Orange County. These high expenses make it really difficult to save. And here's the sad part and why this presentation is so important for you. I'm going to share with you how you can overcome the struggle to save money, because the simple fact is you don't need to save money to not only become financially secure, but to retire and even to build wealth. And I'm going to show you how we can accomplish that today. But here's the point I'm making, is that most people, because we've been brainwashed our whole life, the only way you're ever going to be financially secure is you have to save money, and you have to save lots of it. Most people can't save lots of it. I mean, it's literally paycheck to paycheck. That mindset, because again, they've been brainwashed, it's over. It's game over. If you can't save lots of money, you're just going to struggle your whole life. You can't ever retire. Those things so that's what they believe, because that's what they've been told a million times by everybody they know, over and over and over. But I'm telling you, it's not true. Do you think the wealthy people become wealthy saving money in a 401k? You know that's not true. I'm going to share with you how we can get you to financial security and beyond, to a place of becoming wealthy. And to me, what's really exciting too is building a place of not just your own personal security, but financial security beyond, to your children, and building a legacy of wealth. So let's get into it. All right, overcoming the struggle to save. Here are the real challenges that we all have. First is impulse or emotional buying. And here's what I'm talking about: impulse or emotional buying. I'm talking about just, you know, we walk around. I, frankly, by design, do not carry much cash with me. I have an allocation. I hit the ATM once a week, 200 bucks, that's it, and I make that work. Because I'm like the rest of you. You know, we go along and we see a little something here or there, and I spend it. You know, and this is why getting away from credit cards is really important. Next is financial discipline. So the difference is what I'm talking about when I say financial discipline. Impulse or emotional buying is the lack of discipline. But really, when I talk about financial discipline, I'm talking about even bigger purchase items like cars, like overspending on cars and clothes. And the one that, don't get offended, ladies, it blows my mind, is the purses. $15,000 I saw for a purse. Anyway, crazy stuff. Financial literacy, and that's what this program is all about, is elevating our financial literacy. The financial literacy in this country is pathetic. It's really, really, it's sad, it's discouraging, and it's simply wrong. High schools don't teach anything about financial literacy. In college, they don't teach it unless you take specific courses. Everybody needs to know the fundamentals of financial literacy and how wealth is created and how it grows, and how to create financial security. Our big struggle, and this is kind of the secret nemesis of people, is inflation. And when I say the secret is, people do not, it's a blind spot. Everybody knows the prices go up. They've heard the word inflation a million times, but they don't really know to what degree it impacts their personal life and their financial security. And I'm going to show you that as we get into it. And lastly, we need an autopilot retirement plan. The beauty of pensions, if you have a company, and most of those companies are gone now, and that's why we're having the real struggle for retirement. Most of these companies are gone except for in the government sector. Government sector, there's some really good pension plans. What's a pension plan? It's an autopilot retirement program. You just plug into it basically, they take the money out, it grows, and in the government they supplement it enormously so that you have an attachment to, like when you retire, some people are getting 85, 90, 95%, some are even 100% of the payroll for life. So it's pretty incredible, but we need an autopilot retirement plan. You know, our Social Security is, first, it was never designed to be a retirement plan. It was designed to be a supplement. And it's barely that now. You know, and if I were king of the world, we would change we would make Social Security, we reinvented it into a full-blown pension and retirement plan. But that's not going to happen. The Social Security plan we have right now is struggling to even stay viable. And it truthfully is not going to be viable at some point. So we'll see what happens with the politicians, and why what we're going to talk about is so important, because the government is not going to save your bacon. All right, so we need an autopilot retirement program. I'm going to show you the path, and we can create an autopilot retirement program. And here's what I mean by an autopilot retirement plan. We have a plan that is going to get you to a destination of financial security, meaning you're going to have income to pay all your bills without you ever saving a nickel. You do not need to save money. It's going to be autopilot. We can lock you in. You'll understand how it works, and then I'll show you. You'll learn what the timeline is. And this autopilot retirement plan will vary depending on kind of where you are financially, how old you are, and what you've already accumulated, if you've accumulated any assets. But if you have nothing, we can still get you there. All right. First, it's critical you understand the dynamics of inflation and what you're up against. Why inflation will crush your 401k and IRA. You know, 35 years ago, the 401k was created because pensions were becoming a thing of the past. Without pensions, the government had, hey, let's create a plan that can help people out toward being able to save money and secure their retirement. So the 401k was created. Since then, first off, the number of people that are really able to save very much is not much, but what they don't realize is what I'm going to show you is how inflation just buries your 401k or IRA. So we're going to take an example. Someone that's 32 years old that's just starting their 401k. They put $1,000 in it. They're adding $400 a month, which is double what the average person in this country saves per month. The average person saves $200 a month or less. In 30 years, if they get a 5% net, and when I'm saying 5%, when you put your money in a 401k, it's not free. They have management fees. These companies are not going to do this for free. If your net after fees is 5%, in 30 years, you have $337,000 saved. How does that sound? Does that sound good? Well, let me show you how good that is. If your bills today are $5,000 a month, let's say hypothetically your rent's $2,000, $2,500 a month, your mortgage, and we factor in all your bills, and they total $5,000 a month. This is food, everything, which is on the low end, particularly in Orange County. Inflation has averaged 3% over the past 100 years. Now that is a low number in Southern California, because property values have averaged 7.3% for the past 50 years, more than double that number. And a house payment or rent is typically about 50% of the average person's expenses. In 30 years, due to inflation, your adjusted cost of living is more than double. It's $12,000 a month. Most people have no idea. If I was to take a survey of 32-year-olds that are in this situation where their bills are $5,000 a month, ask them, what do you think your expenses are going to be at time of retirement? Most are going to say somewhere around $7,500, maybe $8,000 a month, not $12,000. I want you to think about this. This is an important question. Think of all your bills, everything that you buy, you pay for. How many of them are never going to go up? How many are never going to go up? The only one that will never go up is if you have a 30-year fixed rate mortgage and you ultimately pay it off. But here's the reality of that, is people that own property that have 30-year fixed rate mortgages never pay them off because they use their home like an ATM machine. They keep refinancing and pulling money out, whether it's to make improvements on the house or whether it's to go on vacation or buy RVs or whatever. But that mortgage payment never goes away. The adjusted cost of living annually, $145,000. Your lifetime savings, 337, divided by your annual expenses, you have 2.3 years. 8% of the people in America, this is where they're at. They have about 2 years worth of retirement money before they will run out. Financial planners, because of this, they teach what's called the 4% rule. Pull out 4% of your life savings. In this case, it's $13,000 and change a year, $1,125 a month. Now, we're talking 30 years from today. Could you live on $1,125 a month today? Obviously not. Add Social Security, $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 a month. To that, you're $2,300, $2,400 a month. Could you live on it? Imagine this scenario. You've got $1,125 a month. Let's throw $1,200, $1,300 for social. Let's call it $2,500. Your bills are $12,000 a month. That's a mess. In 25 years, you retire at 62. 25 years, you're 87. You're broke. This is where people are. They don't realize what inflation is doing to them. This is why the gap between the rich and the poor is getting wider and wider and wider. Because we have a small percentage of people that have assets. The number of people that have assets is declining. Inflation is a great thing if you have assets, and it's a nightmare if you don't have assets. I'm going to show you how we can get into that. But first, I want you to further understand what I call the 4 major flaws of the 401k and the IRA, and why the number of people in this country that are able to retire is declining every year, why the plight between the rich and the middle class is getting wider and wider, is people don't understand these flaws. First one, it requires far more to be saved than the average person can save. And this is why I talk about an autopilot retirement plan and why it's so critical. The 401k is not an autopilot retirement plan. It requires your discipline and your engagement and your ability to save a lot of money. And what if you can't do that? And that's why so many people have given up. They've just flat given up. They said, you know what, I'm just screwed. That's just the way it is. But that's not true. There is a path. We're going to go through that. But my point in sharing this is if you have that belief that I'm just screwed, my family's just screwed, this is just the way it is, we're not going to retire. That's not true. And I guarantee you and I both know, you know tons of people that believe that. You need to communicate. When you see this, you need to communicate to them that that is not true and there is a path, and share this with them and start the process of educating them. The belief system is our first biggest challenge. All right, next, we can't access the money until we're 59 and a half without a severe penalty. Now, here there are many challenges or many flaws to this point. Is if you're a millennial, why would you want to wait to 59 and a half to retire if you can retire at 45? Nobody in their right mind is going to want to do that. And even if you don't want to retire, because I really don't want to retire. I mean, I love working with people. I love doing this. But I sure want to be financially secure as soon as possible. Why would you want to wait to 59 and a half to reach financial security if you could reach it at 45? If you are a millennial, I can get you on a plan that will get you in a place where you're financially secure so that you can retire if you want to at 45, 44, 45, 46 years old, pretty much from scratch. We can do that. So why wait to 59 and a half? Doesn't make any sense. Next is it doesn't provide any alternative income. Your money is illiquid. It's locked up. It's almost like not having it until you're 59 and a half because the penalties are so severe that you don't dare touch it. But what if you lose your job? What if you get sick? At the perfect time, the government's going to kick you in the teeth right when you're down. That's another reason why I really hate the 401k. That, to me, is a huge flaw. If you have a crisis, you need to get your money. Number two is don't you want help along the way? What would an extra $200, $300, $400 a month mean to helping you right now? We need to create income, alternative income. And I say alternative, and this is another huge blind spot the average American has. And when I say I'm talking at least 80% of the people. In their mind, they don't think about alternative income. They think about two things. Number one is what am I getting paid on my job and how can I get that up as much as possible? And number two is how much can I save? And those are not the two most important things to be thinking about. The most important thing to be thinking about is what is my strategy and how am I creating alternative income for me today, right now. You create additional alternative income, that extra income is going to lighten your financial load right now, and we want to grow that so that you can be financially free, financially secure, that you have income to pay your bills off. 401k, not going to happen. And we talked about this already. Upon withdrawal, you have, well, once you're 59, have upon withdrawal, it's taxed at the full personal income tax rate. And so this tax that you're not paying when you start saving, that's nice, but in the end, you get hit with the full tax rate, and there's ways around that. And I'm going to share with you how we can get around that. All right, first, here's the big question. Typically, there's two ways to go in investing. Most people are either going in the stock market or they're looking at going toward real estate. Although there's, I'm not going to get into the whole craziness of what's happening with Bitcoin, but that's a disaster just waiting to happen. But I want to show you the history of the stock market since 1990. And you can see in the early 90s. 1990, we were at 2,500. There was a recession going on, and if you're old enough to remember the early 90s, you know, bankruptcy, or Orange County filed bankruptcy. But I want you to look at the different market dips. The dot-com bubble burst in the late 90s. The September 11th attacks took a big hit on the stock market. You know, we all remember 2008, you know, the big financial meltdown that was caused a result of the housing market was the beginning of it, but really the domino effect of that was much greater. And where we are today. But here's one of the points. I want to make 2 points with this slide. Number one is you can see the volatility with that. But number two is, what if you retire and the market's tanked? What does that do to your retirement income? Here's my point, and what I'm getting to, what you need to be aware of. When you get toward retirement, the closer you get toward retirement, the more conservative your investments have to be. And this is why a lot of people, a lot of financial planners that sell annuities, they say, look, let's get you into a place where we can lock your rate of return in so you're not exposed to this risk. Well, here's the problem with that. There's all kinds of negative stuff all over the TV about annuities. There's no free lunch. These annuities are super expensive, and they're not, most of them are not indexed for inflation, but you get into an income level that is much lower than you need. And if you don't lock into a super secure rate of return, which is going to be really low, like 3.5%, 4.5%, something like that, which is, I mean, if you have $1 million at 4%, it's only 40 grand a year. That you can't live on that. So if you do, but if you don't go in, now you get into the risk of this. And look at this, look at the craziness with the risk. So you're not in a place toward your senior year. So my point is that if you look at this, and the history of the stock market has been around 8%, you look at that and say, that sounds great, but it's not real when it comes to retirement because you can't afford the exposure, the risk. You have to ratchet your exposure way down, which means your retirement income goes way down. Now let's look at the history of real estate, same period. Median price home in 1990, $209,000. Same recession in the early 90s, end of the 90s, the economy started improving, property values started going up, then we had subprime kick in, the big run up, then the big financial meltdown in 2008, 2009, and the recovery, and you can see the 50-year appreciation rate of 7.3%. And today, both the stock market and the real estate market had another fantastic year. And I'm telling you, with this tax reform, we're going to continue to see that. What very few people are talking about is how the tax reform is going to help real estate. And I'll share with you about that in a moment. Anyway, let's compare the Dow versus real estate just head-to-head in wealth growth over that time period. Let's say you put $12,000 into the Dow. Okay. All right, so here's the point on this. Is $12,000 in the Dow would have bought you $12,000 in stock versus $12,000 would have bought you a $200,000 property. So the investment value you can see is significantly different. $12,000 worth of stock versus $12,000 gets you a $200,000 asset. Now, where do you think you're going to make more money? A $12,000 asset or $200,000? You can see 26 years later, the value on the stock goes to $96,000 versus that property goes to $491,000. The profit, $84,000 in the stock market, $268,000 on that property. And look at the return. And this is the most important number. Look at that return. Now, 8%, if you talk to any stockbroker who says, hey, I'll get you 8% for 26 years, most people will be ecstatic with that. And that's a pretty good return. But compare it to 15%, not even close. But that's just talking about one economic benefit of real estate. And that is the leverage factor. And you can see there are 5 economic benefits of real estate. So we just talked about leverage. But it gets way better than that. The next economic benefit is mortgage paydown. Right now, interest rates are at all-time historic lows. Because rates are so low, the percentage of your mortgage payment that is applied to your principal reduction, which is basically money in the bank, is more than it's ever been. It's over a third. So, and now imagine you have a rental. If you have a rental and that tenant is paying your mortgage payment, that tenant is paying your principal pay down, so you're making money there. Number 3 is rental cash flow. Is rents basically go one way, they go up. Now obviously you're talking your home, you don't have rental income unless you're renting a room, which I've been shocked to learn how many people are doing that with Airbnb and those kinds of things. But rental cash flow, third income source. Number 4 is tax benefits. Now, the tax reform changed the tax benefits on your home, but it also changed it for investment property in a good way. They added an additional write-off that very few people know about and almost no one's talking about. But first, on your home, they put some caps on it with respect to a $750,000 on a mortgage interest deduction. And then they have a cap with respect to state income taxes, which is property tax and your personal income tax to the state, limited at $10,000. So there are some limitations. So if you're getting a property pretty much above $800,000, you're going to lose some of those benefits. If you're below that, it's pretty much going to be in the same category. But here's where the big benefit to real estate is on investment real estate. What the Tax Reform Act has added is you still have all the tax write-offs, 100% tax write-offs on your rental property. The full property tax, the full mortgage interest deduction, it's unlimited. You don't have those limitations. But here's what they've added that is huge. See, on investment real estate, you get what is kind of a fictional write-off. It's a paper write-off, which is called depreciation. That depreciation is worth thousands of dollars to you every year. That has been around, that's still around. But as good as that is, and no other investment gives you that kind of write-off. That is free money. But they've added another one with the Tax Reform Act. And here's what that additional one is if you have a rental property, that rental income, you can create as a pass-through income to you. They have a pass-through tax law that they've added. And what it is 20% of your profit is tax-free. So now, on a rental property, you have the depreciation and you have 20% on top of that. When you add the two together, it can be as much as 50% of your gain becomes tax-free. Again, it's significant free money. And number 5 is appreciation. And 99% of the people, including the realtors, only talk about one economic benefit, and that's appreciation. I saw an article in Money Magazine talking about, all they talked about was appreciation. You're getting paid 5 ways. Now the key to that, though, is what does that mean in dollars and cents to you? Let me show you. We're going to recap this, showing the 5 economic benefits. You put $25,000 in the stock market, get you $25,000 worth of stock, versus $450,000 in a property. Now we're showing a 5% appreciation in the stock market versus only 4%. Remember I said appreciation rate for real estate 7.3. We're only using 4. The growth in dollars and cents per year, this is what's been going on. And when I say this is what I'm talking about, this year and the last few years. But look at that gap. Now your principal reduction. This is now, if it's your home, this is what you're basically saving. And remember when I talked about it, you're not really saving money in the bank, but you're saving money in your property. If you have a rental, it's even better because you have the tenant saving this money for you. Your cash flow, again, if it's your home, typically there isn't, but we turn your home into a rental, you create cash flow. Number 5 is the tax benefits. This is the interest deductions. This does not include the tax benefit on if your home is to become a rental. Does not include the tax benefit of the depreciation and the new tax reform tax benefit, which is going to about double that tax benefit. You hear what I said? About double it. Add it up. Look at the gap. And here's my point. Without you saving a nickel in the bank or in the stock market, you've accumulated $32,503, or roughly $31,000 more than you would have in your 401k, or $2,600 a month. This is autopilot wealth growth. This is what we need. Now, I want to share with you the history of California rents. And what's important about this is the stability. In 1990, you can see the median rent was about $800 a month. And look at the growth over the years. But what's important is look at 2008, 2009, what happened with rents. Rents actually went up. Here's what's important is that, and why I showed you that Dow report earlier. Stock market, let's say you have $1 million in the stock market. Stock market collapses 60%, it's worth 400 grand. What just happened to your retirement income? I'm telling you, retirement income went down 60% too. But look what happened in the real estate. Real estate is the only investment where the asset value is detached from the income. That is so huge for your financial security and retirement. Everybody is so fixated on what's the price of my house, is it going to go up or down? And I'm telling you, when it comes to your financial security is 100% attached to how much monthly income do you have coming in. And we don't want it from your job. We want to set that aside. We want your job to be optional income. We want financial security. We want maximum income coming in no matter what. There is nothing safer. There is no stock that looks like this in the last 26 years. If this was a stock, it'd be the safest stock that ever existed. Now I'm going to show you our forecaster report. And this is a report that we do where we do an analysis. And I'm not going to go through all these numbers with you. I want to show you the second part of this, which is the result. This is an example of if you were to purchase a $450,000 property. On the top line, you can see that. Here's the loan amount. Now, the down payment's $15,750. Now, you maybe say, well, wait a second. I don't have $15,000. You don't need $15,000. We have government programs now where your down payment and closing costs, 100%, can be loaned to you interest-free. Zero interest, zero payments. But does it get any better than that? And you don't have to pay it off until either you sell or if you were to refinance. So my point is you can buy with literally no money. You get into a property, but here's the next critical point. Look at the wealth growth. In 4 years, and this is only using a 4% appreciation, in 4 years you have $125,000 in wealth growth. See, we're getting in with no money, and we're accumulating equity at an incredible rate. This is how you can build wealth on autopilot without saving any money. The next key, though, is we have to create income. I'm going to come back to how we're going to do that. But I want you to understand this is how you can have autopilot wealth growth and massive wealth growth. It solves the struggle to save money. And what it's doing is it's putting inflation on your side instead of, it's like the difference between swimming upstream or swimming downstream. It's a complete change. But I want to share with you where the wealth is and why the wealth gap is so different in this country. 10% of the people in this country own 80% of the wealth. That's a scary number, and it's a sad statistic. But look at this, 10% of the people are real estate investors. Only 10% of the people own 2 or more properties. 40% own their home. This is now, these are Southern California numbers. Nationally, it used to be about 64. It's dropped significantly since the meltdown, and it hasn't come back to the low 50s. But in Southern California, this is exactly the numbers. 40% only own their home. Here's the problem with that. We have 90% of the people that do not have any investment real estate and do not have any financial income other than their 401k. And that 401k is not going to get it done. You're going to get hit with the tax. You can't touch it. You don't get any help till later. And then we have 50% of the people are renting, and that's just crazy. If you're renting, I mean, renting is the worst thing you can do for yourself financially. Now here are the 3 questions you must absolutely be able to answer. Number 1 is, what will your expenses be at the time of your retirement? You know what your expenses are now, but we need to analyze, what is your exit time? Is it 10, 15, 20, 25 years, 30 years? We need to analyze, hey, what are your expenses going to be at that time? Next, how will you create the investment income you need to cover your expenses? We will lay out a plan and show you exactly how to get there. And number 3 is when. What's the timeline? How long is it going to take? Here's what we're trying to solve. It's what I call the save and hope strategy. We got like 90% of the people doing the save and hope strategy, meaning they go to work, they save as much as they can, and they hope it all works out when time comes. That's terrible, and it's not necessary. We can answer all 3 of these questions. If you don't know the answer to these questions, you're relying on save and hope. Don't do that. Let's get to the answers so you know exactly how and you know exactly when you're going to be able to secure without saving money. Autopilot. So here's what to do now. If you go to our Mark 1 Wealth Academy website, you get our free ebook. I strongly encourage you to get the ebook so it elaborates further on some of the dynamics that we talked about. We prepare a plan. I call it How to Become Rich. We take, every person's situation is unique. Regardless of where you are, everyone's situation is unique. You need to understand, we need to analyze where you are. Let's take your resources, meaning what are you making, what's your credit, so on and so forth. And we need to analyze all that. So we will do that. We'll create a How to Become Rich plan. You can see the contact information, mark1wealthacademy.com. Also, by the way, we have a retirement calculator that can do a quick analysis for you on the website. Get your free book. Request your free consultation. I'm going to share with you something I'm super excited to launch, and we'll be wrapping up here pretty quickly, is that a lot of you are probably thinking, well, you know, I'd love to buy, but I can't qualify. Well, in the conversation I've had with people, I'm going to tell you, an enormous number of people, as I mentioned earlier, there's a serious problem with the affordability. People are making, if let's say you're making under $50,000, $50,000 to $60,000 a year, okay, was kind of the minimum level to get the entry-level property. But let's say you're making $40,000 a year, and you go, God, I'd love to buy, but I don't quite get there. I've created a service, a new website. It's called homeownerroommates.com, and here's what this does, basically. Homeowner Roommates is we partner you with somebody. And so, you know, if you can get your own co-signer, great. But most people can't. Like 90% of the people cannot. If you're prepared to partner with somebody, go to our website, homeownerroommates.com, and sign up, and we will connect you with another person. And we get 2 people making $35,000 a year. Individually, they cannot buy. But together they can buy, and they can buy with no money. I mean, does it get any better? I want to share with you how committed I am to getting you to financial security. There's really no excuse. You can get there. We don't need money. Here's what we need. We don't even need good credit. We just need decent credit. And if your credit is not very good, we have a credit repair company we work with that we can introduce you to that will help get your credit score where it needs to be. So you need to be making $35,000 a year with decent credit, and that's it. And we can get you into the game and through our homeowner roommates. Now, obviously, if you're making way more than that, great, and you can go on. But this is the path that's going to get you to financial security and retirement and wealth without ever saving any money. It's going to overcome that challenge. All right. One other point I want to share is be sure to share this on. This Facebook show is on, will be recorded, it'll be stay on there, so share this with your friends. People are not going to believe you when you say that you can become financially secure and even wealthy without saving money. Tell them, yes, you can. You have to see this, and you have to start to learn the process. Next, 2 weeks, we have a guest coming in. We have a couple guests coming in. We have a financial planner, or I'm sorry, not financial planner. We have a trust attorney that's going to come in and talk about how to protect your assets. And then we have a CPA that's going to come in. We're going to talk all about how the Tax Reform Act works and the benefits of it. I'm telling you, this Tax Reform Act is huge for making money in real estate. Most people don't see that because of the politics. I am apolitical. I'm done with the politicians, and I'm done with, you know, these guys. I can't deal with, you know, just the constant bickering back and forth. We don't need it. There's a better way. But this Tax Reform Act is going to create it. It's the rich are going to keep getting far richer. Get in the game, learn the process. This is what we talk about when we do your How to Be Rich consultation. All right, that's it for today. Thank you for participating. If you have any comments, any questions, feel free to post them on the Facebook site, or you can shoot me an email, and we will talk about answering those questions. Have a great weekend, and I'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.